Hello, welcome to this lecture video. In this video, I am going to explain material science and quantum free electron theory. So, which comes under module number 5 of engineering physics prescribed by BTU. So, here I am going to explain the following points, that is, quantum free electron theory, merits of quantum free electron theory or success of quantum free electron theory, and density of states. So, these were all the 3 points discussed here. So first let us look at the quantum free electron theory. So quantum free electron theory was developed by Sommerfeld in the year 1928. So after finding the failures made by classical free electron theory, a new theory was developed, and the new theory is named as quantum free electron theory. So the quantum free electron theory is having 4 assumptions. So I will explain the 4 assumptions of quantum free electron theory. The first one is the distribution of energy in an electron gas obeys Fermi-Dirac quantum statistics, but it will not obey the classical Maxwell-Boltzmann statistical law. And the energy of the electrons are quantized as according to quantum mechanics, and the distribution of energy, that is the energy levels in a metal, are filled up with electrons as according to Pauli's exclusion principle. So Pauli's exclusion principle states that no two electrons can occupy a particular energy level with all the 4 quantum numbers the same. So the 4 quantum numbers associated with electron is, that is principal quantum number, spin quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, and then magnetic quantum number. These were all the quantum numbers associated with electrons. So as according to Pauli's exclusion principle, no two electrons can occupy a particular energy level with all the 4 quantum numbers the same. That's what the assumption. And the assumptions made in classical free electron theory is written here, that is, the electrons moves with constant potential and stay confined within the boundaries of the metal. That is, the electric field produced by the ionic cores is assumed to be constant throughout the body of the metal. And here the repulsion between the electrons and the attraction between the electrons and ionic core is totally neglected. So these were all the assumptions already made in classical free electron theory, that is retained here. The new assumption is the distribution of energy in an electron gas obeys Fermi-Dirac quantum statistics, but it will not obey the classical Maxwell-Boltzmann statistical law. And the electrons, the energy of the electrons are quantized as according to quantum mechanics, and the energy levels in a metal are filled up with electrons as according to Pauli's exclusion principle. So these were all the statements made by quantum free electron theory. So the merits of quantum free electron theory or success of quantum free electron theory. So how it is succeeded in explaining the failures made by classical free electron theory. According to quantum free electron theory, the specific heat of a metal Cv is equal to 2k by EF into RT. Here K is Boltzmann constant and EF is Fermi energy, and R is gas constant and T is the temperature. So for all metals, it is observed that the Fermi energy ranges from 1 to 10 electron volts. So if we taken this data into account and calculated the value of 2k by EF, it is observed that the value of 2k by EF is equal to 10 to the power of minus 4. Therefore, the specific heat of a metal Cv is equal to 10 to the power of minus 4 RT. So this is what the data. So this is in agreement with the experimentally observed values. That's why this is one of the success of quantum free electron theory. The temperature dependence of electrical conductivity. This is the another concept. So as according to classical free electron theory, the electrical conductivity sigma is proportional to 1 by root T. But experimentally observed data shows that sigma is proportional to T. According to quantum free electron theory, the electrical conductivity sigma is given by Ne square tau by m or Ne square lambda by m into Vf. Here tau is nothing but lambda by Vf, where lambda is mean free path, Vf is the Fermi velocity of the electron. So by looking at this, so let us consider sigma is equal to n square lambda by mvf, that is equation number 1. And it is observed that the lambda, that is the mean free path lambda, is inversely proportional to pi r square. Here r is nothing but the amplitude of vibration, and pi r square is the area with which the lattice point blocks for the movement of electrons. So due to thermal agitation, the lattice points vibrate about their respective mean position in all directions and blocking an area of about say pi r square. So it will be in the form of a circle. So as the temperature increases, the value of pi r square also increases. So if the value of pi r square increases, the value of lambda decreases. That's why the mean free path lambda is inversely proportional to pi r square here. So consider this as equation number 2. And here it is observed that the amplitude of vibration r square is directly proportional to t. That's why lambda is inversely proportional to t. So by looking at the equation number 1, here sigma is proportional to lambda. That's why, so here lambda is proportional to 1 by t as according to the equation number 3. So we come to the conclusion that by referring 1 and 3, sigma is proportional to 1 by t. So this is what the correct data, and it is in agreement with experimentally observed values. So this is what one of the success of quantum free electron theory. And the third one is the dependence of electrical conductivity on electron concentration. According to classical free electron theory, sigma is equal to n square lambda by m into Vf. So here sigma is proportional to n or sigma is proportional to lambda by Vf. But experimentally observed data shows that sigma is not proportional to n. So we come to the conclusion that sigma is proportional to lambda by Vf. So that will be explained in detail in the coming slide. And when we look at the density of states, so here is a material, so it is an atom. So we are considering the two energy levels E1 and E2. Between E1 and E2, we are going to select a particular energy level starting at E and another energy level E plus DE. Between E and E plus DE, how many number of electronic states are available per unit volume of the material is known as density of states. So the number of available electronic states between the energy levels E and E plus DE in an atom is known as density of energy states, and it is given by G of E dE is equal to 8 root 2 pi into m to the power of 3 by 2 by h cube whole h cube into e to the power of half into dE. So this is what the formula that will be given in the next slide. So these were all the assumptions made by quantum free electron theory. That is, the energy values of the conduction electrons are quantized, the allowed energy values are realized in terms of set of energy values, the distribution of electrons in the various allowed energy levels occurs as per Pauli's exclusion principle and also obeys Fermi-Dirac quantum statistics. The free electrons travels with a constant potential difference and stay confined within the boundaries of the metal. The attraction between the electrons and the ionic cores and the repulsion between the electrons is totally ignored. So these were all the assumptions of quantum free electron theory. So just you can look at the statements here. And the Fermi energy is nothing but the uppermost energy possessed by the electron in a metal at absolute 0 degree Kelvin. So let us consider an atom. So in an atom we can look at discrete energy levels. So here the electrons are filled up as according to Pauli's exclusion principle. So this is the case considered at temperature T is equal to 0 Kelvin. So when you look at the topmost energy level filled with electron, and above that all the levels are empty, below that all the levels are filled up with electrons, and the energy of the electrons corresponding to that level is known as Fermi energy, and the corresponding energy level is known as Fermi energy level. The Fermi energy is denoted by symbol EF. So this is what about Fermi energy. And this is what about the discussion happened about density of states. So we are considering a metal and particularly an atom between energy levels E1 and E2, and between E1 and E2 let us consider an energy level E and E plus DE. Between E and E plus DE, how many number of electronic states are available per unit volume of the material? That is what is called density of energy states. So here if we plot a graph of G of E versus E, we are going to get a parabolic curve as shown in the picture, and the corresponding density of state is given by G of E dE is equal to 8 root 2 pi m to the power of 3 by 2 by h cube into e to the power of half into dE. So this is what the expression for density of energy states. And this is the statements related to specific heat. So specific heat Cv is calculated as 10 to the power of minus 4 RT. So by taking the Fermi energy of all the metals ranges from 1 to 10 electron volts, then the value of 2K by EF is equal to 10 to the power of minus 4. That's why Cv is equal to 10 to the power of minus 4 RT. So this is in agreement with experimentally observed value. And as we look at the electrical conductivity of a metal, it is given by sigma is equal to n square lambda by mvf, and due to thermal agitation the ions that will block the electrons, so the area with which the ions blocking the electron is given by pi r square. As the temperature increases, the amplitude of vibration, that is R, increases. That's why as the temperature increases, the value of pi r square also increases. So if pi r square value increases, lambda value, that is mean free path value, decreases. That's why lambda is inversely proportional to pi r square here. And further, when we look at the value of r square, it is directly proportional to temperature. That's why lambda is inversely proportional to T. So by comparing the equation number 1 and 3, we come to the conclusion that sigma is proportional to 1 by T. So this is in agreement with experimentally observed values. And when we look at the electrical conductivity of electrons, that is proportional to electron concentration. That is what the prediction made by classical free electron theory. But the quantum free electron theory gives us a formula sigma is equal to n square lambda by mvf. So here lambda by vf is one of the parameter taken into account and n is another parameter. So now let us consider the examples of copper and aluminum. If you look at copper and aluminum, the conductivity of copper is greater than that of aluminum. But when we study the value of N observed in aluminum, it is observed to be 2.13 times greater than that of copper. When we consider the value of lambda by Vf in case of copper, it is observed that the value of lambda by Vf in copper is 3.73 times greater than that of aluminum. So by analyzing this data, we come to the conclusion that the value of sigma is proportional to lambda by Vf but not proportional to N. So the classical free electron theory given the formula that sigma is proportional to N, so that is the failure made by the theory. So as according to quantum free electron theory, the value of sigma is proportional to lambda by Vf. So this is what the success of quantum free electron theory. Thank you.